Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Troy again, and I want to come to you with another video today about processing validation. I want to talk about that because it's been an area of my life that has been actually been ridiculed by a few people in the past, and I want to get some of your take on it. If you could leave a comment and share with me how you have dealt with processing your own validation. When I talk about this, what I'm referring to is the ability to process it. Um, it's one thing for people to come up and say, "Well, Brother Troy, you done a good job speaking this morning. Brother Troy, you did a great job playing music or singing or whatever." Um, but then there's this part of me that has to I almost want to say, well, let me be the judge of that, if that makes any sense. Uh, and there's an aspect to me that wants to know myself whether it was decent or not, or acceptable or right. Of course, I struggle with this perfectionist mindset as well. So I want it to be perfect. I want it to sound right, look right, be right, because I don't feel like, that I really am anywhere near perfection, but I strive for it. I mean, I want to be the best that I can be. But my ego doesn't allow me to believe that I am the greatest, the grandest, and the most glorious of anything. So there's this need to validate myself. And the only way, and I believe all of us have that need to some degree or the other. But as I've, you know, witnessed, kind of stood back and watched what I do down through the years, I've noticed I've developed a pattern. If I'm, speaking or writing, uh, whatever I'm doing, I've noticed I immediately, if I have it recorded, let's say I'm speaking, say making these videos, or speaking at a conference or a church or whatever, I want to, if I can get my hands on a copy of whatever I've said or done, or if this is, say, this video here, I will immediately go back and watch it. You know, I mean, it's the first thing I want to do. It's like there's something in me that's not happy, it's not satisfied until I listen to myself speak, watch myself, make sure that it appears okay, that it's suitable for me. And then once I validate it in from that external viewpoint, looking at myself outside of myself, then I'm like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, that'll work. That's okay. Yeah, that was decent. That was fair. It'll pass muster, so to speak. So, but for someone just to come up to me and say, "You did a great job," or "That was outstanding," this and that, it's almost like, well, I thank them for it. And used to, when I was little, it was when I was a young man, just a kid, it was really difficult for me to accept um, a genuine applause or validation from others, because I almost felt like, well, I'm not really worthy of that, or I don't really know that I've done that. I mean, I remember my folks, my dad would say, "Son, you got to look at those people and tell them thank you," because I would be like, I don't want to say anything. I just want to crawl under a hole and die. So I had to struggle with this validation. How do I accept it? How do I process it? What do I do with it? So I've noticed, when I make a video, the first thing I do is I go back and I watch it. I want to make sure, did I say the right thing? And once I feel like, okay, that's acceptable, then I'm good to go. I don't have to watch it again. You know, I don't watch it to listen to myself talk. But I've had people criticize me almost as if that I was conceited, or how could you listen to yourself? I would never do that. I would never want to listen to myself on a tape or video, or if I write something, immediately, whether it's a comment or, something on Facebook or something, I'll write it. And then immediately I go back and reread it. It's like, okay, I've got to validate this. And I notice validation for me, I suppose, would come from my FE, my external feeling, my extroverted feeling, rather. So extroverted feeling is reaching out beyond us to the other person or the other people, And you couple that with introverted intuition, you've got this recipe not only to please people, but you validate them. We have no problem validating other people. I have no trouble telling somebody, you did a fantastic job. That was awesome. That comes naturally to me. And if it genuinely is a good job, I'm going to let them know. I mean, and I'm not going to lie about it. If it wasn't good, you probably won't hear from me. But I'll just keep my mouth shut. If I'm trying to be honest, I just kind of grin and bear it. But if it's really something I like, I will tell you, hey, that was outstanding. That was very good. You done a great job. But I cannot do that internally to myself. I don't have that ability to look inward and say, okay, that was a great job, or you said the right words, and just let it rip and be done. Most people can validate themselves the moment they speak or the moment they write, and they can process their own validation. It's like, I said it, that's good enough. I wrote it, that's good enough. And they can walk away from it and never look at it again, never think about it again. It's like, you read it, good for you. If you didn't, good for, it's good as it is. I'm not, I said what I said and I meant what I said, and that's what I said. That's how they act. That's why they view life. Must be nice, because I struggle with what I said and what I did and what I wrote and how I did. That's just an internal thing. And the only way for me to get validation is just to go back and reread it and say, well, okay. And once I do, I feel like a sense of calm comes over me. And I feel like, okay, I'm relieved. I believe that'll pass. In my little mind, I think, okay, it'll pass. That passes. So, I want to know, how do you INFJs suffer, or well, I say suffer, or experience? We'll put it in those terms. It's not really suffering, but you experience life in that way. Do you notice that you want to go back? I edit comments all the time. If I see a mistake, if I see I misspelled a word, I was like, oh, I mean, it just freaks me out. I want to make it right. It's got to be perfect. I got to say it right. I got to write it right. I got to do something right. And this ain't the first time I've done this video. I think I've done 2 or 3 already, and I've just scrapped them. So here I am making another one because something else had come to my mind. It's like, oh, you should have talked about this. You should have added that. And why did you say this? And on it goes. So I will probably push the stop button on this video in just a few seconds, and I'll go right back through it, and I will watch it and make sure it passes muster probably before I ever put it on YouTube. Can you relate? Maybe, maybe not. This is my life. I love y'all. Take care. God bless.